welcome to episode 88 of Anime and Us. I'm TJ.
And I'm Shawn.
And this is the review show that reviews anime from A to Z. Sort of. Still got it.
Sure. Didn't take 10 times. Twice. So we did Avatar for TJ's end of the season pick, right?
Yeah, it was the third season of Avatar.
Yes. Season 3, Book 3 is how they like to call it. Premiered on Nickelodeon September 21st, 2007. Consisted of 21 episodes and then a 4-part series finale, which was like 2 episodes, but it had like 2 episodes in each episode.
Yeah,
it was weird the way they did it.
It ended up being like 25 episodes or something like that, really, in total.
Third season received critical acclaim, with many praising the season finale as a satisfying conclusion to the series. Blah, blah, blah. 4 DVD volumes. Yeah, I guess shit. This is the third time we read the wiki board.
No, actually, that was new because I put in specifically season 3 of Avatar and not the whole series.
Yeah, but you guys know.
So just preface before we start this, it's been like, how long? 4 weeks?
Oh, more than that. I think it was the first week of September we had to stop because I was remodeling my house and I kept getting injured from jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. And then we're still kind of remodeling, but we just got to get back to it.
So, yeah. So, Shawn doesn't remember anything that's happened. So,
because I actually watched this third season then, the first week of September. So, yeah, it's a little fuzzy. I mean, I remember the overarching plot and everything, but it's a little upsetting because all the little things I probably would have commented on, probably not going to remember.
Probably not. You never do anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I do a lot of times.
So, I guess we'll start with we don't need to do a premise, do we?
We know the premise.
We know the premise, yeah. But
he needs to learn fire.
Yeah, he's going to
learn overfly or fight the Fire Lord guy.
The Fire Lord, yeah. He has to fight more Camel.
Is that who?
That's Lord Ozai.
That's funny.
More Camel is Lord Ozai, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the premise for the third season. So
the premise for the third season is Aang going, "Oh no, I'm a vegetarian and a pacifist. So I don't want to kill the Fire Lord." That's the premise.
Okay, tell us how you really feel.
Aang's a pussy. That's how I feel about it. And now, to be fair, it's not really his fault. How old is he in the show? He's like 12.
Yeah, he's only 12.
He's a 12-year-old. You can't expect too much more out of a 12-year-old.
So, I'm glad you brought that up because I just edited Nadia of the Blue Water, and you defended that show because she was a child, and that's why she was a vegetarian.
Well, I just brought up a little that he's a child. Same rule of thought.
I was about to get on you about it for,
I actually blame the show creators for putting a 12-year-old in that situation. Most anime when we're talking about coming-of-age stories like Dragon Ball Z or any type of shonen manga, and this is essentially that. Make the main character coming of age like at 15 or 16. You have the body of a man. You're just not quite mentally there, and then you overcome that as the story goes on. I recall
Goku being 6 when he started.
True, but I'm saying most. Most. That was just a poor name to name out.
Uh-huh. And technically he's 112.
Goku?
No, Aang.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't...
So technically, he might be 14. Actually,
either way, he
looks young though.
Depicted as a very young
yeah, they're supposed to be depicted that way though.
Well, you can't expect a very young person to wrestle the ideas of having to murder someone.
Yeah,
I feel like they should have just made him a little older.
But that was kind of the point.
It's like we're psychological. Psychological.
But that's the point. That was the whole.
Let's tell a 12-year-old and 14-year-old man to murder people.
He's an air nomad, which is they're pacifists by nature, and that's the way he was taught. And he's a kid. So I mean, all those teachings. That was kind of the point. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending. I will get to the ending of it. But I can't speak because we haven't done a podcast in 5 weeks. But I'm not defending it. But at the same time, I understand what the story creators are going for.
You could still go with him being a pussyfest, vegetarian. That's a joke, by the way, from English. You could still go with that, with him being a 15, 16, 17-year-old, something like that. You can still do all that, and not have to wrestle with the ideas of him being a child, being told he has to murder people. That's what everyone's telling him. He has to go overthrow Lord whatever, and essentially kill him.
But he is the Avatar.
He ends up not doing it.
He is the Avatar. He's supposed to be trained by this point, essentially. I mean, there's reasons behind the whole thing. And so, so tell us if you liked it or not.
It was the best of the 3 seasons. The fighting in it was better. I don't want to... Choreographed isn't really the right word because it's drawn.
Drawn is not
But it was better drawn.
Right, well, I mean...
The fighting was more quote-unquote realistic. It seemed better. The characters all grew a bit. Even if Zuko was kind of, just kind of thrown in there because he wasn't really... Like, he was in the first 2 seasons, but he didn't have a lot of spotlight. He was there as a bad guy, and he had a little bit of time here and there to explain his actions.
Well, it's funny. They
But this season gave him a lot of spotlight.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm not saying that's a bad thing per se.
No, I mean,
it's just weird because the show didn't go in that direction before.
But because he had become Aang's teacher, obviously.
Yeah, so he had to overcome his own emotional trauma.
So they had to, but it was funny. You're right. They kind of rushed his story because, like, the first half of the season, Zuko is like still on the bad guy side because they think he killed the Avatar and that he was welcome back to the Fire Rangers.
His sister, by the way, quote unquote, killed him. Even though he didn't actually die. And
right.
Said he did.
Right. So
she's
because she's fucking insane. She's absolutely nuts in this.
Did she die at the end?
No.
She should have. That's another thing. Like, fucking murder people. Come on. Like, these are evil people.
But that goes against the nature of the show. It's a kid's show.
Then don't wrestle with hard ideas.
Well,
you can't have it your cake and eat it too. If you want to wrestle really tough, emotional, psychological type things, you gotta actually follow through with it.
You can.
And not be like, oh, everyone's gonna be alive at the end. It's gonna be okay.
Just because you don't agree with the pacifist lifestyle.
I'm not saying everyone has to survive, though. Like, that's literally what the show did. Except for, like, the one or two characters that might have died at one point or another.
No, there was
usually
characters.
Because of their own issues.
I mean, none of the main characters die, but a bunch of the side characters die.
Yeah.
Like, there was, like, two wars within this entire season.
Yeah, but the people dying are either off-screen or...
Well, they can't show it on screen.
Exactly. I'm not advocating for blood and gore. That's not what I'm advocating for. What I'm saying is you can't give all these hard issues and then not actually wrestle with them.
I think the majority of people disagree with you because a lot of people love this show and everything behind it.
That's fine. They can love it.
I mean, I think you're wrong on this one.
They can love it. I don't.
I mean, because you're saying kid shows can't have hard issues, essentially.
No, I'm not saying... But you have... That's not necessarily a hard issue. It's like a really human issue. We're talking about the concept of war and death and all that. You have to show those things. You're only giving us half the picture. You're talking about things and not really showing it all the time. Like the Fire Lord oppressing everyone, and it's like, but you don't really see the oppression. You just see poor people.
You see the oppression.
You see them murdering people and abusing them, and like that's what happens in those actual situations.
They're taking over Earth Kingdom cities one by one and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's just like they're just doing it, and either A, you're not seeing it, or B, you're seeing it, but it's like toned down to a child.
How would you do it?
A little more blood and gore.
Exactly. You're arguing for a more mature...
Yeah, so I think it should be a more mature show.
A more mature show.
I think if you're going to put those ideas forward and make that
the
core of your show,
you can do a kid show. You can do a kid show and push these ideas into it.
I don't think you should make a kid show about Nazi Germany and us overthrowing the Nazis and showing the horrors of the Holocaust, because you can't make a kid show and do that. It wouldn't be true to what.
But that's not what this is.
Exactly, because it's not. If those things were true, like let's say this was a biography of what happened, or kind of a historic telling of what happened, if all those things actually did happen, it would be a really shitty version of it because it doesn't actually show you what happened.
I think you're...
And I'm like, we're talking about like the war and stuff like that, but it's also to the more personal level with the more, personal story arcs and all that. It's not just the big overarching war. That doesn't matter. We can keep going.
I think your argument's not where...
It's a kid's show. That's just not for me.
Okay. No, I understand that. But your argument doesn't make sense.
You're not showing everything.
Yeah, I know, but you're not supposed to show everything.
You are if you're going to wrestle with those ideas, I think so. That's how I feel.
No, I don't think you need to.
No, that's fine.
You can be ambiguous about things and show and have death in that way without having to resort to bloodshed and, hard choices.
Have to be super gory, but I think the hard choices should be there.
But, like, at the end of the second season of Avatar, they were toying with brainwashing and taking away your free will and stuff like that. So there's those dark things are in this show. It's just that just because they don't show someone getting their head blown off or crushed by a giant rock doesn't mean...
I think if Aang saw those things that were obviously happening, right? Because we're talking about...
Aang was showing suffering a lot throughout this.
He didn't have the balls to want to kill. He's a pussy fest.
That doesn't make him... Look, I'm arguing they kind of... they jumped the shark with the end of the show, no doubt. But that doesn't mean he is wrong for not wanting to kill somebody.
Yeah, I think everyone is. If you have the opportunity to kill Hitler and you choose not to, and other people are going to die because of it, like that's your fault. You should have done that.
No, I don't agree.
Oh, okay.
Not at all, Harley. I mean,
all it takes for evil to prevail is
but you don't have to.
Nothing.
You don't have to kill somebody to stop.
Usually, you do in real life.
No, you really don't.
Avatar Land, he can zap them and take away their firebending.
Well, like I said, that's bullshit. But get to that. But you can, like, in your hypothetical reason, you can stop Hitler. You don't have to kill him. You can knock him out and drag him back to America and have him locked up in a prison for the rest of his life. You could stop him easily that way.
Nah, good luck getting out of Germany.
I'm just saying, there are other ways you could do it.
Anyway.
If you believe in that route, there's always a way to figure it out around it.
I don't think so. I don't think there is sometimes. Sometimes you have to choose the hard road.
Yeah, but it's not always the determining factor.
I think it usually is in real situations, I think.
Have you been in a real situation that you need to? I don't think you have. I think you're a little disillusioned here.
Anyway, back to the story. Well, I just don't like that part. It's just, maybe that's just me. It's a kid show. It's like me watching Dragon Ball for the first time now. Probably wouldn't have liked it.
Maybe.
It's similar in the sense that you deal with some hard things, but it's just, it's a very happy-go-lucky, and they don't really deal with a lot of those issues most of the time.
I mean, that's what a kid show is.
Yeah, I don't watch kid shows.
Yeah. Okay, I mean...
That's not something I'd put on willingly. But that's so, like, this is a deeper issue, I think, with a lot of, not really a deeper issue per se, but, like, I know so many adults that are obsessed with Harry Potter. And there's nothing wrong with being obsessed with Harry Potter. There's nothing wrong with being obsessed with Avatar The Last Airbender, if that's what you happen to like. But it is a children's book series. It is a children's movie series. And, like, I feel like a lot of those people just don't quite understand that. Like, sure, it's fine that you like it, but, like, it's like riding a bicycle with training wheels. Like, you can graduate and watch something with depth.
That doesn't mean that they don't. You can like a kid's show and like Goblin Slayer.
You can, sure.
I do.
Fine.
Yeah, I am the perfect thing. I like this show and I like Goblin Slayer.
This show's okay. It's not the worst thing to watch.
I like how this has become a review of kid shows in general.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of been my whole, I don't want to say issue, but probably the whole reason why I hadn't watched Avatar yet is because, like, when it was airing, I just didn't watch it for whatever reason. And then I got kind of older, and I'm like, And now I have watched it, and I was like, yeah, I was kind of right. I feel like most people probably like Harry Potter as adults now because of the nostalgia behind it. If you were to read Harry Potter now, the first couple books, the writing ain't that great.
Oh, no.
If you were to watch Avatar now without having watched it as a child, no nostalgia, it's okay.
I read Harry Potter when I was like when it came out. I was
that was in third grade.
No.
Third, fourth.
When I read it, I was in my 20s.
Why?
Because you know me, I'm always late to everything, and it was like 6 movies in at that point, and then we had our. It was
the later movies didn't come out till I was quite a bit older.
Yeah, so it was like so the movies were still going on, the books were already out, and then everyone's talking about Harry Potter, and it was like at that point it was like, all right, because I'm a big reader, so I was like, I'll check it out, and I like the books.
They're nice. It's the same thing as liking. It's okay. It's not terrible. But it is a young adult book series. She says "the" and like 1,000 times in each book.
Well, "the" is kind of a main word that's used.
You get what I'm saying, though.
Well, I mean, it doesn't...
I'm not saying it's a bad author. It's not saying it's bad writing.
Well, she is bad, but that's beside the point. That's not what we're arguing here.
That's not the point we're arguing. My point is, it's for children. And people, in my opinion, parade it around as if it's the greatest show that's ever been made. And I'm like, it's alright.
But then you get stuff like Game of Thrones, and people think that's the best.
It was until the 8th season.
But have you read a Game of Thrones book?
No, I've got them.
I have. I think
George
R. They suck.
They are so dry.
He's a bad writer.
It's more like writing politics.
Yeah, he is the one of... I couldn't even finish one of the books because I couldn't get through it. So, you could say that about anything.
If we're talking about fantasy novels, read the Stormlight Archive. That's it.
Read the Witcher books. They're really good, too.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean...
Anyway, let's get back to it. That's my point.
I think this is...
You disagree, that's fine.
I think this is a review at this point.
Well, it's my fundamental reason why I'm not all on board on the show.
I'm not saying you have to be all on board on your show. I just think your reasoning's a little weird for it.
It's a kid's show, and I want more from that.
And
I get more from that with a lot of anime.
And if you would have...
And I'm sorry to cut you off. This is America's best version of anime. It's what they really tried to do and make it their own.
It was the start of America's best version of anime. You know,
better than it from that type of era.
Well, I'm saying nowadays they're getting better with anime.
What? I mean, there's a couple things like Dragon Prince and all that, but that's all Netflix. Like, it's not a TV show.
Are we just talking about kid shows in general or anime?
Well, anime
because, like,
in that sense, you know what I mean?
Like if you're going in kid shows, like Adventure Time's awesome.
It is, but that's not a kid show.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's so
a kid show. I don't want to say it's an adult show, but it's a late teen show.
No, it's a kid show, man.
There's some adult themes in there.
Yes, there's some adult themes in this too. Like the whole brainwashing thing in the second season. We're going to get to Korra eventually, but in the third season of Korra, the main protagonist literally suffocates someone to death, and they show it.
The audience is aged.
So I'm just saying, there's dark themes in the thing.
I don't know. Well, like I said, I do I recognize that there's dark themes. I just don't feel like they go all the way with it.
Yeah, I think that's the argument I have. I don't think they need to, where you think they do.
I think they do, because I don't enjoy children's shows. I want to see a show made for adults.
You want to see the blood.
Not necessarily the blood.
You want to see the blood.
I hope the audience understands what I'm saying, but it doesn't matter.
I mean, we only spent 20 minutes arguing about this, so...
Let's continue.
So...
Hangs a pussy.
It starts off... Well, actually, we're going to get to that in a moment. Because it starts off with them...
I really hope, by the way, that a lot of people that really fucking love Avatar listen to this and get so triggered by it. Like, he doesn't understand! It's so good!
Look, I like the show, but I'm not saying this is the best anime. I personally like Korra way better than this show.
I think I like Korra better than this one.
But we're going to get to Korra later.
Yeah.
But anyway, it starts off with him, and because he just learned water. No,
he knew water.
He just woke up from being injured.
Yeah, with his lower back
at the start of the third season, and they go to the Earth Kingdom, one of the Earth Kingdom generals, and the Earth Kingdom general's trying to make him go into the Avatar tape.
Yeah, and he figures out it doesn't really work.
Yeah, and he's threatening to kill his friends and stuff. Mm-hmm. He was a psycho general, but that's nothing. So after all that, they go to the Fire Nation because they learn how to firebend. But this is where your pussy thing keeps coming.
I think not only do they go to the Fire Nation, but they had already convened with like the war efforts,
right?
And they were like, "All right, we got a few weeks or however long."
Oh, before
go lay low
before the comet hits.
Yeah,
before the comet, because the comets come in and power all the firebenders. But there's also eclipse that's happening. It's going to take their powers away before that. So the eclipse is the first half of it, and then they get to the Fire Nation, and then they have what was it called? The movie. The dancing movie.
I remember.
Yeah. They have, with Patrick Swayze.
Oh, Roadhouse?
No.
Oh, Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing. Yeah, they had a Dirty Dancing episode here and stuff. It's just them.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, it was Footloose, essentially. Footloose. There you go. That's what I was looking for. The whole town hated dancing. Well, I guess Fire Nation in general. And Aang teaches them all how to dance.
I wanted to bring that one up because we watched that one together, and it was ridiculous, but it was funny. Yeah. So, but essentially, the first half of the season is pretty much what's his name. Sokka gets his meteorite sword.
Yeah, he gets some training. He gets like 10 minutes of training, and now he's proficient in sword.
Yeah, well, that's there. You can tell they were going a million miles an hour in this one because it was like we got to finish everything up, and then they have Zuko going through how he doesn't like. He's beginning to realize that
Fire Nation don't like right.
Yeah,
he's not them.
He's regretting betraying his uncle and stuff like that. So, but by the way, Iroh wasn't voiced in the first half of the season.
Yeah,
because of the death of Mako, out of respect for him. So
I wonder how that affected the story, because they probably already had a script and talking, and then they were like, "Oh, well, out of respect, let's." So I wonder if that actually affected what they originally had planned.
Yeah,
probably not that much, but
no. But, so they had to replace the voice actor in the second half. He wasn't in it all that much, though. So, it didn't really matter. And then, they're just pussyfooting around until...
Yeah, just having fun, figuring things out, going from island to island in the Fire Nation.
Until the eclipse happens. Oh, and Zuko hires an assassin that shoots laser beams from his head.
Yeah, that was weird.
But, so he apparently uses firebending to use Mind Blast out of this... chakra thing in his head.
He has like carvings in his forehead.
Yeah,
and then like these fire beams come out of his head.
Yeah. So an assassin's chasing him and stuff, and then stupid things. Toph and
my issue with stuff like that is, and this is actually a similar issue I have with Full Metal Alchemist. Is like if you know by putting a certain amount of patterns on your head and you're a firebender and you can shoot laser beams off your forehead now, why doesn't everyone do that? For instance, if once people in Full Metal Alchemist know if you put on a metallic glove with a certain pattern and start flicking your fucking fingers, you can just be insanely powerful. Why doesn't everyone do that? Why is there only one guy doing that? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, in this, first of all, it's limited to that specific ability is only limited to firebenders.
Sure, but why is there only this great resource of power, and they're all about power and killing people?
Right, no, I got you.
Why is everyone using that?
But I also took it as he was like the first one to figure it out, because in the third season of Korra, which you didn't get to yet, another enemies comes out with that.
Well, then at the very least, you would have thought more firebenders were doing it.
Right. I mean, I take it that those certain abilities are only capable of being done by specific skill.
Maybe, but they didn't say that.
I mean, they do explain that
in other areas like blood bending.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Metal bending and stuff like that.
So only certain ones, and then Korra they expand on all of that. But as for my Full Metal Alchemist, I was under the impression only certain people could do alchemy.
No, as far as I can, I've seen Full Metal Alchemist a few times, both seasons. Mm-hmm. It's know-how. You just have to know how to do it.
Huh? I don't know. I haven't seen that show in a long time.
It's a good show.
I know. I don't want to rewatch all those episodes.
Yeah, it's too many episodes. It's a good show.
But anyway, so yeah, and then the eclipse happens, and so the rebellion essentially attacks the Fire Nation. Mm-hmm. They create submarines and stuff, Sokka and stuff, and then they revealed that the Fire Nation has airplanes and shit now, which is just blimps, but at this point, and the technological. What I like, so we'll get to it, but this feels, on its own, a lot of it's weird, but if you take Korra in perspective, this really feels like this is in the past.
Yes.
That's you know what I mean?
Without Korra, it's a little odd.
It's a little odd.
With Korra, it almost feels like a gigantic flashback.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why
Korra's just, I'm not saying Korra's perfect, but it's such a more well put together show.
Oh yeah, they also done this for 3 seasons, you know what I mean? So they had it figured out by that point.
Yeah.
But, again, we keep going off track.
Back to this or that, talking about Full Metal Alchemist for 2 minutes.
You can tell we haven't done this in a while. We
watched it a while ago. It's been a while since we watched it. It's not super fresh in our mind.
So
overall, it's alright. It's just not...
Yeah, I mean...
Not something I would ever choose to watch again.
It's the best season.
It's the best season of 3.
Of the 3, without a doubt. And then after they failed obviously, because the eclipse happens in the middle of the season. So they failed that because they knew the eclipse was coming. They were prepared for it. But Zuko betrays them and goes and joins the Avatar. And of course, they don't trust them at first. Blah, blah, blah.
Takes a little while to trust them.
This is where it gets really weird because now for the next 4 episodes, everyone has a little side quest with Zuko.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like each one of them has to build trust with them.
Yeah, so Aang's first, and they go and figure out firebending from dragons. And then it's Sokka who he takes Zuko to a prison where he goes and frees his dad and his girlfriend who were locked up by them. And then Katara? She goes and tries to find her mother's killer, and this is where the bloodbending comes in.
Yes, she learns how to bloodbend.
Well, actually, that was probably earlier. It came in, but bloodbending was... Yeah,
she learned it earlier.
Bloodbending's really creepy.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, I mean, it controls your body and controls you and stuff. So bloodbending's actually pretty cool. It actually comes up... Well, you've seen that season, yeah. Bloodbending's really cool. And then you get the 4...
they end up going for the big battle at the end. Katara, at one point, her and Aang were having issues with love.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, everything is so crazy. Aang's like, I just want to get laid. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
I'm a horny 13-year-old.
I didn't like their relationships in Avatar. I didn't like their relationship at all, really. It felt weird because he felt super young compared to her.
Yes, she definitely seemed like solid 5 years old.
Yeah,
and 5 years is only important when you're talking about that age.
Right.
It's like, man, is that a weird 5 years to date.
Right.
A 12 or 13-year-old dating a 15, 16-year-old is really weird.
And it looked like they were going to go Katara Zuko at one point, but it didn't go that way, and I don't know, I think they probably should have went that way, because it's just...
Well, it's all
and
off-screen, so...
this is probably my own bias here, but Aang looks weird. You know?
He's drawn as a goofy kid.
Yeah, but he's got the bald head and the stupid tattoos and stuff. It's just weird to me.
And he is a child. He does not even look like a teenager. No. Especially compared to them. They look like teenagers.
Right, yeah, I don't know. The whole relationship was bothering me. There was before the finale, a recap episode in the form of a play, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was the episode where he went to go kiss her and she was having issues.
Yeah, but, that was actual recap episode.
The kid's name with the sword? What's his name?
Sokka.
Sokka. I like Sokka.
Yeah, everybody likes Sokka.
Sokka's the best. Especially he gets all the ladies.
He does.
Princess or whatever it was. Then he's got the martial artist.
And Toph has a crush on him too.
Yeah, I think they dated at one point, right?
I don't know.
I could have, because I watched the first season of Legend of Korra, and I could have sworn Toph's granddaughter said something.
I know Toph's daughter dated Aang's son.
Oh.
But I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Daughter, not granddaughter, sorry.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think so, because Sokka seemed to really hit it off with the martial arts girl, Suki. I think that...
It was really weird how they, kept... Weird and refreshing at the same time, how each character kept wanting to be with different characters at some point.
Right.
Just odd.
Right,
And then most of them didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But anyway, back to the recap episode. I like the recap episode because they made fun of themselves.
I hated it so much. I hate recap episodes.
I know.
Oh, I wanted to skip through.
But it was one of the better recap episodes.
I guess.
But they were making fun of themselves.
The people doing the play of their entire quest was playing up their bad personality traits.
But they were still progressing.
Toph was a big muscle-bound guy.
Yeah, and Aang was a woman. But they were still progressing story and stuff in the recap.
A little bit, yeah.
So it wasn't a waste of time completely. Yeah. But, did you catch it? But the last joke on it, they said that play was terrible, but the special effects were good. Did you catch that joke at the end?
No.
That was in reference to the Avatar live action movie.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Did the movie come out by then?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
They were like, that movie was terrible.
I could have sworn the movie came out years after.
Nah, I don't think so.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then the big final battle comes, and Aang disappears onto a giant island while everyone's fighting. Toph and Sokka are on blimps fighting.
Yeah, from blimp to blimp to blimp.
Yeah, and Zuko and Katara are fighting Crazy Azula, which was, and then Aang's on the back of a giant turtle, confronts the Fire Lord, and then the giant turtle gives him the ability to take away his bending. It was like, what the hell is this? This was Deus Ex Machina, because...
He gives him energy bending.
Yeah, so this is where I was agreeing with you. It was bullshit, because they were building up, what am I supposed to do?
It's your choice. Yeah. You have to figure it out.
Are you going to kill him, or are you not going to do it? And I think they wrote themselves in a freaking corner, what are we going to do? We have to
have a 12-year-old commit murder.
Yeah, how are we going to figure this out? Oh, giant dragon turtle. Bullshit. That was cheap. If you're going to you're right on the fact that you're going to bring up the question, you should at least have the balls to answer.
That's all I was saying.
At least in that one instance, I agree with you, but because that was bullcrap. But yeah, so he takes away the Fire Lord's bending, and then everybody lives happily ever after. It ends with
essentially
Aang kissing Katara.
And one unanswered question: where's Zuko's mom?
Oh, what's funny about that? They bring it up in the first episode of Korra. If you catched it,
I think they did. Yeah.
Aang's son Tenzin in Korra was his daughters were reading the stories of the Avatar, and he went up to Katara, Grandma Katara at the time, and asked, "What happened to Zuko's mother?" And then the little chatty mouth girl interrupts her, and blah, blah, blah.
She's about to answer.
Yeah, and they interrupt it. But they do answer that question in the Avatar comics. There's comics based on the show afterwards. So
okay.
It does get...
I assume Korra would answer it at some point.
No.
Oh, that's
because they answered it in the comics.
Yeah, but no one's reading the comics.
Apparently enough people read
it. Let's say a million people watched the show. Maybe 10% of those read the comics. The comics are still successful, obviously. But not everyone that watched the show is going to read the comics. So you should not leave loose ends.
They did a whole, it was 60-page 3-arc comic on it. So it was because it should be like a TV special. They should come back and make that. They did a 2-hour TV special. They're still going with these comics too, by the way. There's 5 series. Why are they making it? It's clearly a popular show. It's so weird. Because, there's what they're doing is they're releasing 3 in a series, and they're 60 pages long each one. So that's a cool way to do it. So they did 5 of the Last Airbender, just 2 for Korra right now too. So the comics must be really popular because people. Oh, I'm sure they're really popular. All I'm saying is clearly more people watch the show. Oh yeah, there's no doubt. No, especially over the years. So all those people. My point is, all those people that watch the show now don't get an answer. Yeah, but I like the tongue in cheek of it all. I mean, if you want to, especially if you're going to make a sequel to the series, but I like the first episode of Korra where they did that. I really do. But give the answer at some point. But at the same time, it's it wasn't a big deal
It's a big deal because you didn't answer. That's why it's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean,
not because it was a big deal on its own.
It's the only plot hole, really, and it's like, well, we're not going to answer this plot hole. You know, here, you want to know? Go read our comics. I kind of like the balls of it. You know.
All right. Anything else?
Oh, yeah. What's your rating?
Well, yeah, obviously. But anything else you want to add?
Nah, I think we've been rambling for 35 minutes about it.
I liked it. It wasn't the greatest thing I've ever watched. It wasn't the worst, that's for damn sure. But it's a little higher in the middle of the road for me. 6.
So 6 or 7, yeah. It's up there. It's not bad.
I see why people really like it.
Yeah,
it's just not for me.
Exactly. I mean, and we've done this plenty of times where it's not for me, but here's an honest score of it. So,
all right. So 6, 7, and then we get to spin.
No, we don't, because we're actually going to do core next.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to spin.
We actually watched the first 2
because we had a month, so we figured we're going to watch the whole thing. But Shawn decided to be.
We're also going to do it in one episode because I'm lazy as.
Yeah, so we're going to do season 1 and 2 of Core in the next episode, and then we'll spin on that one.
Catch you guys later.
Well, talk to you about 3 seconds, and actually by the time you hear that one, it'll be a week. So, bye.
Bye.